welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina and I'm so glad you came to hang out with me today as I tell you a little bit about what I've been up to with my knitting. So I'm trying a little bit different setup today, so you'll have to let me know whether you prefer this one or my typical sad blank wall. I'm afraid I just don't have anywhere really ideal to record. So anyway, we're trying this in front of my sewing machine. Okay, so it has not been that long since I last recorded a podcast, a couple of weeks, I think, but I have gotten quite a bit done because I am not on my regular schedule. I work in higher education and basically, you know, follow the academic calendar. And so I am on vacation right now and I am taking full advantage of that to knit just as much as I possibly can. And also caveat, you know, because I hate that people compare how much they knit to how much other people knit, and I feel like there's so much judgment on the internet either way. So I just want to go on the record as saying I don't think that there is one right pace at which to knit, and I don't think that you should compare yourself to how much or how little other people are knitting, and you should just do what suits you and your lifestyle. And right now I am knitting like wild, and so my makes will reflect that. Okay, so first up is what I am wearing, and I apologize for the crease. It has been folded up. This is the Yarnkeeper Vest, which is a brand new pattern from Wool & Pine Design. I'm recording this on, I think it's June the 6th. Like I said, I'm off work, so I'm not keeping up with the calendar, but I am recording this on a Saturday, and this was just released on yesterday, Friday. Brand new pattern. I'm sure that by the time I get this uploaded, the welcome coupon will have expired, but anyway, the pattern itself has finally been released. So, Yarnkeeper's Vest by Wool & Pine Design. This has a finished bust of 28 to 68 inches, and that is the garment size. And like all of Wool & Pine's designs, it is very intentionally size inclusive. It calls for 0 to 4 inches of positive ease. I made the size 5, which is 44 inches, so that is 4 inches of positive ease according to my upper bust. If you are new here, there is a 6-inch difference between my upper bust and my full bust, and so I have discovered that my tops will fit a lot better if I will choose my size according to my upper bust rather than the full bust, which is normally what the patterns will tell you to do. Is they always say choose by your full bust. At least that's what the majority of them say. So Wool & Pine Designs, their patterns always say that. There are a few designers like Lily Kate France who generally will tell you to choose according to your upper bust for a nice fit. So I'll stand up and let you see it on here, and then I will also throw up some pictures. I did not leave myself much room here. Okay, so what to say about this? It was very easy to knit. You start with the back shoulders. You work there's a little short row action happening in here. So you cast on one back shoulder, and then you cast on another back shoulder and work those down a little bit, and then you cast on stitches to go across the back, and then you knit your back down to the underarm, and then you come up to the front and you pick up one side and you pick up the other side, and then you will cast on stitches and go across there. So super duper easy knit. There was nothing tricky at all about this except for when it was in testing, The armholes were a little bit longer than what the designers had intended for the larger sizes. And when they originally wrote the pattern, the pickup rate that they gave us resulted in much looser, what do you call these, armbands, sleeve bands, than what they had intended. And so there was a little bit of, not drama, but a little bit of asking people to go back and redo their armholes because they were just longer. They didn't make anybody like rip back and shorten the arm side or armhole. I'm not sure exactly when we call it an arm side or not. But they did not make them reduce that, but they did make people reduce the number of stitches that they picked up, which I originally picked up according to the pattern, which was like, I think 138 stitches for my size. And when I had completely finished, and then saw that they were asking people to go back and redo those, and my arm bands were looking really sloppy. If I think of it, I'll put a picture up here that just shows my armband before I redid it. It was flaring, and I definitely would not have been able to wear it with nothing underneath it as it was. But yeah, so it was like 138 stitches, and when I went back and redid it, I picked up basically a one for every 2 stitches rate, and I picked up just like right around 100, or maybe a little bit over. Yeah, so I greatly reduced the length of my armhole, and it's kind of cool that you can do that, like take up so much slack by just changing the number of stitches that you pick up. And then I bound off with an Italian sewn bind off, which is what it's called for. And I don't always do an Italian sewn bind off, because sometimes in yarn that is more textured and scraggly, I don't always think that it looks the best, and it is definitely way harder to work with certain yarns that are, again, more scraggly. But I was using Picks Modish Merino, and it was extremely round, and it was merino, so it was very smooth, and so I was able to easily bind off in that, and I think it looks really, really nice. So worth it with this yarn. My neckline is looking pretty loose as I'm sitting here right now. I don't think it looks bad with something on under it, but I might want to redo my neckband. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I don't really see myself wearing this without something under it, just because a almost 100% wool tank top is not really very practical in my climate. So I was intending to wear this, layered in the like fall and spring. So I don't know if I will want to redo that neckline or not, but anyway, it calls for DK weight yarn. I do not have that much DK, but I did want to try out Picks they have a new-ish yarn called Modish Merino, which it's easy wash. It's not super wash. It's uses some kind of a process, super washing type process that is supposed to be a little bit gentler on the environment. And it says that you can gently machine wash, and I can't remember if it says you can machine dry it, but I would not do either of those things. So the reviewers on the Picks website warned that their gauge swatches had felted when they washed them, and so I was already on the alert and not really planning to wash mine. And I think that is a very wise decision not to wash it, because I was able to spit splice it super, super easily. Without it was just like it was a non-super wash yarn. It went together so easily. So yeah, I don't wash it in your washing machine for sure. However, I did really enjoy the knitting experience with it. It doesn't have that limp feeling that you get with superwash. It feels very soft because it's merino. but it has more texture, more body than what I would expect of a superwash. So I would definitely work with it again. I just would not plan to treat it as a superwash garment. So that was my main color, was Modish Merino, and then all of these stripes are Picks Stroll, or I mean, they're almost all Stroll. There's also like one Felici solid in there, and there's like, I think I counted 30 different colors in there. So I did repeat some of them. I think I repeated all of them twice, and some of them maybe 3 times, some of the ones that got like worked up here. So yeah, anyway, this really is a true scrap buster. All of the body stripes just took around 2 grams or less. And that was with my yarn held double. So you really could do this with just your little balls of scraps. Yeah, and there's lots of fun different palettes that people used. There were some people who did not do true scrappy ones. Their colors were a lot more organized, and yeah, so I think this is a great base to work with. Yeah. My main color, I used about 1.5 balls of the Modish Merino, or not balls, it was hanks, 100-gram hanks. So about 150 grams of my main color DK. And that was with, after I had already done these armholes, there was no way I was picking that Italian sewn bind off out. And so I just cut off my cuffs and when I reknitted them. So there was some lost yardage on either side. And this was on my needles from April 26th through May 15th. It is a super quick knit, and the only reason, like, it did not really take me that long. I definitely stalled out because I just got bored knitting it because it was so much stockinette. And then it does take a while because you can't, if you're doing what I did and you're really doing scraps and you're changing colors, you really can't carry, I would have been carrying like all the way down. So I did not carry my yarn. I cut it at the end of every row. And so there was a lot of ends to weave in on this. And it took me 3 episodes of the pit to get the one side done. I had already woven in ends on the side where you're working flat. Like one of these, you have some ends on one side, and then the other side you have ends all the way down. And so the side where I had the ends all the way down took me 3 episodes of the pit. So what is that? Like a little under 3 hours to get those all woven in. But highly recommend, like all of Wool and Pine's designs. They have a super concise writing style, which I personally really like. I don't know if there are any videos for this one, because what they'll do is have little video tutorials that you can go watch if there are any confusing techniques, but I don't remember that there were any for this one, because like there's just, there's no challenging techniques, I don't think. There might have been something for the Italian sewn bind off, but I did not watch any videos for this one. Oh, and I forgot, I used a US size 5 for my main color and a 3 for my ribbing. Okay, my next finished object I do not have with me, and that is because it was a sample knit for Julie Powell. She's a designer who's working for Knitting Fever / Juniper Moon Farms. I'm not sure, are they owned by the same people, or are they the same company and just one is like a distributor and one is the yarn line? I don't know how all that works, but the yarn came from them, the pattern came from Julie, and I knit the sample for her it's called the Lola scarf and hat. I was working on that last time I filmed and was complaining about the never ending scarf, and I got that knocked out in the next day or 2 after I recorded. So I just had to keep plowing away at it, and I finally got it done. Yeah, 72 inches, it was a lot. I'll have put a picture of it up here. It was Juniper Moon Farms Moonshine Fine and Moonshine Fine Handpaint, which is an alpaca and wool and maybe silk yarn. Sorry, I don't have any of the labels or anything. She wanted every little scrap of that back, everything associated with it. So it has all been mailed away. And that was on my needles from May 10th through the 22nd. And the pattern will be released in July. And that's when I'm allowed to like post pictures on Instagram or whatever if I want to. So, okay. And next up, I mentioned that I was going to be doing this in my last episode. And I have already finished it. So just a second. Okay, I'm back. A little wardrobe change here to show you my newest make. So this is the, I still don't know how to pronounce this, Gigha, Gigha. It's a test knit for the Crea Belle. It is just this cute little tank. So let me stand up so you can see it. The straps are a little bit wide set for my bras. This is the fun part. Granny squares, or you can do a custom panel, which is what I did, or you can do ribbing in here. And they're both really cute. Sorry, I have no idea what you could see back there. But it's the back is exactly the same as the front, so it's just kind of a wide square neckline. So this is a DK weight tank, and I knit mine in Drops Belle. It will accommodate bust 27.25 inches to 66.5 inches. I'm actually not sure what the called for ease was. It's not in the version of the pattern as it currently exists. I assume that when the testing call went out, the suggested ease was listed, and I picked my size according to the suggested ease. I'm trusting. Past me that I did that. I knit the size 5, which is 43 inches. So that would be 3 inches of positive ease on my upper bust. And yes, this is really fun. It is knit top down, but it's knit flat. So you knit a front panel, a back panel, which look exactly the same. And then you knit 2 side panels, if you're doing those, and then insert those. Or if you're doing the ribbing, you pick up your ribbing and do your ribbing, and then you come in and you pick up stitches all the way around and cast on stitches, and that's it. It's super simple, but I think it's very cute. Let's see, did I say how long? I worked on this from May 18th through 28th, and a lot of that time I was definitely not working on it steadily that whole time. So this is very quick. It's meant, like, it's funny because I'm such a maximalist normally when it comes to color, and this is intended to be perfect for color blocking since it's all knit separately. But I had this vision of doing it just all one color and with the granny squares. Now, I want to say that I'm not a crocheter. I have knit a couple of crocheted dishcloths, and that is just about it. And so I learned how to make a granny square, and they're not wonderful, but they're not terrible either. But I didn't really know what to do because my granny squares were not exactly the length that I needed, and I didn't know what to do since I'm not really a crocheter, and so I ended up making 2 little granny squares here at the bottom, and putting those on. And so that probably looks kind of weird, but it was a solution to my problem. Probably not the best solution, and not something that I'm sure that a proficient crocheter could have done something much smarter than what I did. But yeah, I did it, and I think it's fine. I don't think anybody's going to be looking that closely, and I think it's super cute. It is bra friendly, although, as I said, it's a little wide. The straps are a little wide set for my bra straps. And I will say, if you're going to make this, I would advise doing a very snug, tight bind off for your bind off. So this is the cast on edge over here, and my cast on edge is nice and snug. She calls for a cable cast on, which at the time I was like, ooh, it's not very stretchy, but actually it's perfect because you don't want it to be super stretchy. But I was concerned that I was going to need, for range of motion, I would want this to be really stretchy. And so this is drop spell. I do not like doing an Italian sewn bind off in drop spell. It's one of those scraggly yarns that I was talking about that I don't like doing it in it, and I don't think it looks particularly good in this yarn. And so I was just binding off in pattern, which is actually, I think, what's called for in the pattern. But I went up a needle size, because normally if I want my bind offs to be loose, an appropriate amount of loose, I need to size up. So that's what I did. But it did not look good. It was flaring. And so I actually went down. I ripped that out. I think I redid it at the size, in just my ribbing needle, and still didn't like it. And so I ripped that out and redid it again in a size down. But if I were doing this again, maybe I just needed to have done fewer stitches. That's possible. 'Cause she does say that your ribbing gauge is important. If I'm being honest, I don't know what my ribbing gauge was. I did not measure it. So yeah, it could just be that I needed to have sized down more. But all of this to say, my armholes are a little bit loose. They definitely could be tighter. However, it does stay on. I actually have worn this, and it's totally fine. It's definitely not holding, these outer parts of the straps they're not doing any work of holding it on. All of that is being done by the inner parts here. So, but yeah, this knit up super, super quickly. So those of you who have been around before know that I like to add horizontal bust darts to my tops so that they fit better. Because if I don't add those, I have the front will ride up a lot more than the back. At the time that I was working this, Rebecca did not have any short rows written into the pattern. There was not an option for that. So I just asked if I could put my own in, and she said that would be fine. And I have actually never done that on something. I haven't knitted a lot of things flat, to start with. I'm thinking right now, I'm not even sure I've ever knitten. I don't think I've ever knitted anything for myself that was flat. I think I have only knitted other people things that were flat. So yeah, I didn't know exactly where I should put the bust darts, because I didn't know exactly how all of this was going to go together, because you don't have, when you have to do the bust darts, all you have is you'll have this much of it knitted. So I knew it needed to be somewhere under here after the underarm, and I could see where I thought that was gonna start. But yeah, so I was really just guessing where to place those. And if I were doing it again, I would do it a little bit lower, because ideally you want these darts to be pointing sort of straight on, at the apex of your bust. And actually mine are not that that off. I feel like they should be more straight, but they work. I think it looks really good. My tank hangs pretty level, so overall I'm really happy with it. And if I had not done that, I would have had like super high-low action for sure, and I would have had to knit my whole tank a lot longer. That's one of the great things for those of us who are busty. The great thing about working the short rows is that you don't have to work your whole thing, your whole top, a lot longer than you really need it. You can actually crop yours because you're adding in that extra length where you need it up top. So once you get down in the round, or down here, you don't have to work the whole thing longer. So yeah, I highly recommend that. And Rebecca has actually added the option to do short rows. So she has added some instructions. I have not looked at that yet because I've just been working on other things. But I actually am kind of tempted to make this again. Like, that's how fast it was. And I think it's super cute. There's some really, really cute color play ones that are happening in the test. So yeah, I could definitely see myself making this one again. And in the drops Belle, it feels really nice. I would not wear this to work or anything, but I think it's super cute just for wearing around the town during the summertime. So yeah, let's see. The test is supposed to finish for this July 27th. And so I would expect that, I don't know. This is my first test I've ever done for Rebecca, so I don't know how quickly after her test ends that the pattern normally comes out. But I would expect it into July at the earliest, or the beginning of August. And yeah, I think it's super cute. I think my bra strap is, yeah, it definitely shows in the back on me. And so, like, I actually was toying with the idea, if I make another one, like, I wonder if I could move, like, would there be a way to move the strap over a little bit? But I do like how much, like, it's perfect down here. I love how much coverage there is down there. I don't know how to change, I don't really know how to change the width of things. I don't know. I am not a designer and don't fully understand the architecture of tops, I guess. Okay, but really happy with that. And next up, I have one of my summer knitting plans that has actually been finished. So I will do another wardrobe change. All right, so this is the Vincas pattern. This is a free pattern from Berroco. This is probably not the bra that I would wear with this normally. Oh, this pictures of me modeling it are gonna have to do a lot of hard work in this one, I'm afraid. I just did not leave myself room. Okay, so this is, like I said, a free pattern from Berroco. It fits bust sizes 37 3/4 to 68 inches. It calls for 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. I made the size 43 3/4, and I used Knit Picks Memento, which is a 100% Pima cotton yarn in the colorway Mai Tai. And sorry on that drops Belle, on the Gigha Tank, I do not know what color that is. It will be, so I always forget to say, but all of my projects are in the description box below. If you are interested in the colorway, go into the description box and click on my Ravelry project for that, and it will take you to that information. I do fill out my Ravelry for all of my projects. So, okay, so Vincas. I think it was really fun. So I said I had never knit a flat garment for myself, and then in the span of 2 weeks, I have now made 2. because this one was also knit flat, and it was knit bottom up, which is the worst in my opinion. It has a lot of different stitches. So we have like, what did they call this one? Like diagonal moss stitch, and then we got some V's or chevrons, and then this cute little dot stitch. And this is that same little diamond pattern that everybody is putting in their Pointelle right now. So I'm kind of a little bit sick of working this one because I'm also working the Petite Pointelle tank, and you'll see that one in a minute. But yeah, so I got this one finished. I really enjoyed this. So it has been a long time since I have knitted a garment. I don't think I've ever made myself a garment with 100% cotton or mostly cotton. Like the most cottony thing I've ever knit was with Knit Picks Cot Lin, but this Memento is DK weight Pima cotton, 100%. And so I was kind of worried that it was going to kill my hands, but I really enjoyed working with it. It is, I just kept marveling at how round it is. And I'm looking at this. I don't know why I'm showing you this because I did, I bound off in pattern. Here is where I did an Italian sewn bind off. And I think that it looks really nice. It was super, super round. I kept looking, like the stitch definition is so good. I just kept looking at it and marveling as I was working this. So we'll see, you know, jury's still out on how it wears. This is actually like the first time I'm wearing it. I just blocked it yesterday and I wasn't sure, because I know cotton grows. I wasn't sure if it would grow more widthwise or lengthwise. I made mine a little bit shorter than what it calls for in the pattern. I did my ribbing shorter. I probably should have cast on provisionally so that I could go and knit the ribbing down once I had everything done. But I wasn't that smart and did the ribbing, but I did less ribbing than what was called for. And I think I knit mine about an inch shorter than what it called for. Yeah, and so that it would be a little bit short, because I wanted mine to be more cropped than like how it was appearing on the, like in the sample. Now, I will say, this pattern is not the greatest. If you are adventurous, if you don't mind figuring things out, the pattern's fine. However, there are errors in the pattern. There are things that I could not I could not make the math. So some of my patterns are like off, like they're not centered. Like here, like I remember I just gave up with these guys, like trying to figure out what the pattern was telling me to do. It's also all like the pattern itself, the repeat is fine, but like they tell you, you know, like knit so many stitches before you start the pattern, and that part was wrong. Like I said, I couldn't make the math. It's also all written out rather than charted, and oh my goodness, this pattern made me realize just how much I like charts and how much I dislike trying to read K1, P1, K1, P1. Anyway, my eyes were crossing. I was losing my place. So I did, at the end, I got so frustrated with this part, because when you work this pattern, you have already bound off, or you're not working all the way across. And so you can't follow the instructions that you were following for this, and they don't tell you like where to start in the pattern. So I actually went into Stitch Fiddle and charted this myself. So I did link those in my Ravelry in case they're of use to anybody else. But you would have to be making my size, I think, for that to be useful to you. And let's see, which one did I do? I think it was this one. I messed this one up so many times. I finally just made myself a little hand chart of it. Anyway, so that was frustrating to me. However, the yarn was great, enjoyed that, and I think it's cute. now that it's done. So you knit it flat from the top up, and then you add armbands, and then you seam down, and it does not call for a split hem. That was my own thing. I didn't want my ribbing. I'm not sure if they told me to go down a size or not. I definitely sized my needles down for the ribbing, and I'm not sure that I actually should have, because my ribbing was pulling in, which you normally want ribbing to do that. But anyway, I decided that I wanted mine to be a little more airy. So I just didn't sew all the way down, just left my ribbing unsewed, which I guess that's one of the nice thing about seaming. Like you can do that. Just stop the seam. So what I was saying about the sample, so I realized as I was looking, at the pattern instructions and then looking at the sample, that like the instructions did not match the sample. Like these patterns are in a different order. Like this guy, doesn't make an appearance in the sample after the one at the bottom. It's just like all the little flowers that come over and over again, and that is definitely not what the instructions say to do. So I followed the instructions and didn't go by the sample. But anyway, that's just a word of warning. Like the sample does not actually match what you're doing. There were a lot of complaints when I went and started looking at people's projects. I realized that it was filled with people going, I gave up on this pattern, and being really frustrated with Berroco that I guess they had errors pointed out to them and that they had not corrected it, even though they say like, oh, we will update the pattern, the PDF with, so that it's correct. But it's definitely doable. Like I said, if you are a little bit adventurous and you don't mind wrestling and maybe going into stitch fiddle your own self, it will be fine. I figure nobody's looking at my side seam to see if everything is balanced just right. And yeah, I'm excited to have this. We are going on a family trip to the Deep South, and we are going to Hilton Head for a couple of days, and so we'll see how it does in the hot weather. But I was just thinking this would be really cute for like a beachy kind of top, if nothing else, over my swimsuit. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm excited to try out 100% cotton and see how it wears and how I like it in the hot weather. All right. Oh, a bird just flew into the window. Okay, so I have come to the end of my finished objects. So now I have some whips to show you. And the first of those, this one is now in all kinds of craziness. This is my Petite Pointelle tank by Jessie Mae Designs. And the craziness is that I just finished a ball at the bottom and decided I'm getting near to the end of where I'm gonna want it. I think I need to do at least, I'm partway through one chart repeat, and I think I need to do at least one more chart repeat, and then I'm gonna block it and see where it's sitting. And I always like to add my armholes and necks before I decide on the body length, because sometimes it can make quite a difference as to, how, like, sometimes it can pull the whole garment up quite a bit when you add those things. I don't think that it's going to make a huge difference on this particular one, because this neckband is quite narrow, and it feels like it's still pretty wide, I think. So I don't know that it's going to make a huge difference, but I'm still going to go ahead and do that. I'm about halfway through the neckband. It's actually double knitted, so that will be interesting. I don't know that I've ever had a double knitted collar before, but the collar and the armholes are both going to be double knitted, and then there's going to be a little scallop hem at the bottom. So let's see what to say about this. I'm knitting this in Picks Salvage, which is a recycled, like 97% recycled cotton yarn. I promise I got gauge. It just doesn't look like it. So the back has been blocked like to here or so. And I think you can kind of see where it gets real scraggly looking. So this is part of the reason that I want to block this, because I have never knit anything with salvage. And so I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'm trusting my swatch. My swatch looked okay. And I think the back looks better, the part that I had blocked. But because I keep looking at it and going, man, this looks like hot garbage. I sure hope it's going to look better. Because this is a fairly tedious pattern, I would say. It is all over this all over Pointelle pattern. Like, you don't get any break. The side is, you know, this little lacy pattern down. And so now that I'm in the round, there are some rows where I am getting a little bit of a break where it's just knits and purls, but every other round you're working lots of yarn overs and knits and purls. And anyway, it's, like I said, it's tedious. But I could definitely be done with this if I just give it a couple of days of good work. I'm trying to get myself to do at least one chart repeat a day. And like I said, now I only need like another chart and a half, I think, and then I will probably be done. So this one could be done by next weekend, I think, if I just give it some attention. What size am I knitting? So this whole pattern, did I say it's by Jessie Mae Designs? It is. It goes from 33 inches to 66 inches. It calls for 0 to 4 inches of positive ease. I'm doing the size 3, which actually, like, so her size 3, like her sizes, a lot of them split off. So like they start at the same size. So I think it's like 40 and 40, what did I just say? 45 and a half. Maybe it's 43 and 45, like start the same, and then they like divide off. And it divides, like, you cast on a different number of stitches for the different sizes. And I wrote down, I think it's 42/45.5. And the 45.5 cast on more stitches. And I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how it was looking when I got to the underarm split. And because I think I was thinking I would do the 42 inch, but then I think I got scared and did the 45.5. So that's actually more ease than what it calls for, but hopefully it'll be fine. Yeah, my eyelets, like I said, my eyelets look not good. They look pretty garbage. And I actually like messed around a lot with these, trying to figure out how to get them, because like it's the eyelets that I work after my SSKs that look really bad. Like, they're so small. And so I started double wrapping them to try to get them like to be balanced so they would be the same size. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's just, I'm sure that Patty Lyons tells me why. If I would just open the book, I have her little handbook thing. And so I could probably get that figured out, but I haven't. I just want to get this done. And yeah, I would say the salvage is not super fun to knit with. I'm hanging in there because the people who have made things with it say that they really like the fabric that it makes, and it is 100% cotton. So I think it's going to feel good on my skin, good to wear, and just the texture that it is, I think it will wear well. I think it'll be pretty hard wearing. It doesn't have that shine at all that like the Memento is has a sheen to it, which I am guessing will probably rub off or pill. And this one doesn't seem like it's going to be that way to me. I don't know. It feels different. I do think I'm going to like it. I'm not necessarily enjoying working with it though. It is hard on my hands. Like, I could definitely feel how hard it was on my hands when I was working on this double knit collar, because you have to pick up a bunch of stitches and then knit through the front and the back on every single stitch all the way around. And my hand was hurting after that. I was like, I need to stop working on this, and just work on it in small bits so that I don't hurt myself. But yeah, I was really excited about this one. I'm less excited about it now just because I'm working on it, but I do think it's going to be cute. I have tried it on and I like where it's hitting me. I think it is going to fully cover my bra, which is kind of amazing. And I think it will be nice and ventilated, for wearing in the summer. So it will serve its intended purpose. I cast that one on May 18th. I think I cast that one on before I cast on any of the other ones that I've actually finished already. That's funny. Okay, next up, my book club cardie. So I actually have made some good progress on this. I am in my, I'm like halfway through a row, or just a few stitches through a row. Yeah, so I can't try this on, but oh, that looks so good. Those cables. I am in my last chart repeat. So I just need to get to the end of this one, and I think then my body will be ready for me to start on the hem. And I don't know if you can see this here, but I did not do the pocket. A lot of people had said those pockets were too low and too small to be functional, and I was like, you know what? I'm skipping it. I am skipping it. So I assume this one really needs no introduction. This is Sorry Nordland. I loved it when it first came out and then have finally bit the bullet. I cast this one on, oh goodness, a long time ago. Months ago. I think I cast it on in January. I am making it out of Knit Picks Woodland Tweed in the color Thumper Heather. And it's this really nice heathered gray. I am absolutely loving the yarn. Have no idea how it will hold up. This is my first time using it. But doesn't it look awesome in those cables? Yeah. So, this is one where I was like, I just need to make myself work on it. If I would just work on it a little bit every day, I could get it done. So, I am fairly motivated. I actually worked on it. I went and stayed with my mom. She'd had a medical procedure and I stayed with her for a week, before my kids and the rest of my family, my brothers and sisters and their kids, came down and we had a big family thing there. And I took this with me and worked on it until I ran out of yarn. So I did not bring any extra balls with me. And so, that's why I have left off in the middle of a row. But yeah, I'm really close to being done. So maybe this week I will finish that chart repeat. And then I think once I get the body done, I think the hem will go fast and I think the arms will go much faster, because I will just make more visible progress. And also those arms are not going to be super duper long just because this is a drop shoulder. So the sleeves are not going to be, they're not going to need to be as long as sleeves on non-drop shoulders are. And I know there's a double knit button band on this one that probably will feel like it goes on and on. I actually don't mind double knitting all that much, because you can just work on it a little bit at a time. But I'm really, really ready to have that very long body section with all the cabling and stuff going on. I'm ready to have that done. Yeah, and I am knitting the size 4 or 49.25 inches on that one. Okay, and then we have another one from my summer plans. This is the Sylven by Natasha Hornby, and I have made some progress on it. So you start with the back on this one, and you work a massive number of short rows. Like this had a lot of short rows worked in here, and then you finally get your shoulders built out and knit down. This is like a very easy stitch repeat. It's just like 6x1 rib. Basically, you're just making these little purl. It's not purl. Well, it is purl, but what's it called? Where you, oh my goodness, broken rib. There we go. It's like a broken rib down, 6x1 broken rib. And even though that is super duper easy, I was missing my rib columns consistently, and so I put in all of those stitch markers. If you're not a dum-dum, you would not need to do that. And then once you get your back knit down, you pick up your front and knit that down, pick up your other front, knit that down, and as you can see, I have not had my fronts joined for very long. But yeah, it is going. This is knit in Knit Picks Comfy Sport in the colorway Ivy, I think is what I'm doing. Comfy was Knit Picks' yarn of the month last month, and so I ordered this tea quantity when it was on sale, and I have really been enjoying working with it. I'm actually thinking of ordering some more in the fingering weight, because I'm like, well, this sport, like, this is not bad. I don't know, y'all, like I said, it's been so long since I knit with, since I had knit with cotton, because my previous experiences with cotton were so unpleasant. I had written it completely off, but I think maybe my issue was way back when I was using it. I may, number one, have been using wooden needles, because I definitely had wooden needles for a long time before I had my metal needles. And so like that could have been contributing to my hand paint. And also I was just a much tighter knitter when I was a baby knitter. I definitely strangled the yarn, and I don't do that anymore. And so whether it's one, the other, or a combination of both of those, I am not having that same hand pain at all with any of these cotton things, except the selvage. But that may not be the selvage as much as it is me like just being tense and stressed over that Petite Pointelle. But I have really been enjoying working with the Comfy so far, and definitely am thinking about using Comfy fingering for Lily Kate France's Calm Night cami, a cami like tank pattern of hers that I have, that I wasn't quite sure what I would use to make it with. So yeah, so this one's going along quite well. I actually cast that one on the other day because I didn't have anything that was like just plain stockinette, and this is pretty close to plain stockinette. Too close apparently for me, since I just kept breezing right through those ribbed columns. But yeah, anyway, that one is going well. And then I had a kind of surprise cast on, again, kind of because I just needed something mindless to do. And can you see what this is? It is another sailor slipper. So you may not remember, but I had made myself a pair of sailor slippers back at Christmas, and I thought they were super fun, just delightful. I had never felted anything intentionally before, and so it was a lot of fun to go through the whole process. And my kid said that he would like to have some slippers like that, and so he picked out, this is Drops Snow. So this is the actual yarn called for in that pattern. When I made mine, I did it with Knit Picks Wool of the Andy held double, the worsted held double. So this is my first time using Drop Snow, and it's very soft. It's also extremely annoying, in my opinion, to work with, because it's like got no twist on it, and so I just keep splitting the single, and anyway, it's annoying. I think I need to use duller needles than what I am using, but anyway, yeah, so I made this and I showed it to my kid and he's like, do you think that there's a problem? Do you think that this is right? I'm like, this is the way it's supposed to be. So we'll see. Hopefully it will shrink. I mean, they're like, this is part of the fun, right? Because they're just so ridiculous. His feet are US men's 13. So they're pretty big. Are they this big? I don't know. We'll see. So I've got that one finished. And if you haven't seen the sailor slippers constructed, you start with this little back part and then cast that off, and then you pick up stitches, cast these stitches on with backward loop, and then pick up stitches down here, and that's going to be your front, and you knit that down, and there's shaping that happens, and then you knit the sole back the other direction, and then you will seam all of this together. And I think that the pattern is somewhat annoyingly written, in my opinion, just for my taste. Like, I feel like it's overwritten. However, she does do an excellent job of walking you through the seaming section, and there's now like a full video tutorial. I think there's a tutorial for the entire the entire slipper. I haven't watched all of it. It's just, I just watched the seaming part because that's where I'm like making sure that I'm understanding what it is that she's saying to do. I do not enjoy seaming, but I find it quite satisfying. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun to make, and I could finish that other guy tonight if I work on it, and then could spend tomorrow felting that. Let's see. Hold, please. Okay, so a couple of things that I wanted to tell you. One, the Ravenna top is out. If you didn't watch my previous regular podcast episode, I test knit this for Michelle Frazetta of Mishi Fraz Knits, and this is the Ravenna Sleeveless, and I think it is so pretty, and it released this past week, and I realized I forgot to tell you about my buttons. So let's see, can I cover me up? I think these are really pretty. They're like square pearl, mother of pearl buttons, and they are very vintage. Actually, I have a habit of when I have buttons left on the thing that they come on, and I didn't use all of them up, I just kind of like stuff them in my sewing drawer. And so I thought I might have put them there, but I think this one might have had more of these, and so they're still in my button box. But I don't know if other people know to do this or not, but I love thrifting. I love going to garage sales, and so whenever I am in one of those places, I always check out like the craft area. If somebody's having a garage sale, I always check out the craft supplies and sewing supplies and stuff like that, and I look for buttons. And if it looks like, I don't necessarily want somebody's just like, the like cookie tin, which I actually have one of those from my mother-in-law's, the cookie tin full of just absolutely random buttons. But a lot of times you will find like full, I don't know, what do they call them, like the sleeves or whatever, where like all the buttons are there, or most of the buttons are there, and there will be 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever. So I'm always on the lookout for those, and I just buy them if I can, because I will say most of the thrift stores that I tend to frequent they're not Goodwill. They're usually not as high priced, and so if it's a reasonable price, which I would consider like $1 or under for a packet of buttons, I will snatch those up, not necessarily with anything in mind, but just to add to my collection. And then whenever I have a garment that needs buttons, that's my first stop. And oftentimes I can find buttons in that stash. And so if you like me like to look through other people's junk, be on the lookout for those buttons, and they can save you from having to do what I sometimes have to do now that there's like no craft stores, and I don't go to Hobby Lobby, like having to use Amazon instead or whatever. So one other thing that I wanted to tell you, because I completely forgot about this when I talked about it before, when I was making my Ravenna, so Michelle has you put in stitch markers in your button band, so like in the other side, for where your buttons are going to be placed, which is very, very helpful. However, so you block it with the pins in, with the stitch markers in, and then, once it's all blocked, then you sew on your buttons. However, my stitch marker, this is all I can think that must have happened. It like rusted on my fabric, and let me see where is it? Okay, it's right here. This actually, it was like a rusty stain, and I don't know that you can see it, but I duplicate stitched over it to try to like cover it up, and I'm not seeing it now. It might just because I got this orange shirt on that's confusing my eyes. If I could put up a picture probably that I took. Oh yeah, now I can see right there. I don't know if you can see, but it's still a little discolored right there. I just felt like that was light enough that I didn't need to duplicate stitch, but like I duplicate stitched here because I felt like it was just so dark. Yeah, so the stitch marker that was down there was one that was like kind of a rusty color, but like I think that's the color that it was, because I have like a big pack that I got off of Amazon that has like a bunch of different colors of stitch markers, which is very handy. I love that. But yeah, I think that it rusted, or it released that color onto my Ravenna, and it was horrible. I could not get it out. I didn't want to use stain remover because Grace of Pearls and Grace and Pearls. Sorry, Grace, I can't remember the name of your channel now. Like, she had a horrible incident where she had tried to use a stain remover on one of her garments, and it bleached it. And so I was like, I'm not doing that. But I couldn't get it to come out with dish soap, and so I just decided to duplicate stitch over it. And so if you're making this and you're going to be putting on those stitch markers, I would highly advise to use either plastic ones or ones that are painted like completely, so that you can see there's no like metal bits, unpainted metal bits sticking out. I mean, plastic is probably your best bet, but yeah, that was kind of awful and horrifying to have happen. So I was glad to have duplicate stitch in my tool bag to be able to cover that up. So the Ravenna did release, I think I said that, yeah, the Ravenna released last week, and I just think it is so pretty. So get yours if you like that one, or you can wait for the Ravenna sleeved that's coming out. But yeah, highly recommend that pattern. It was not the pattern's fault that my stitch marker rusted on it. And then since I last spoke to you guys, I was accepted to a test knit for Sophie of the Knit Pearl Girl. I am going to be testing her shell tee in the DK. So like the shell tee already existed in another way, or maybe it was the shell pullover or something. It's like a striped, or maybe it was in fingering and she like graded it up to DK. It's a striped raglan. It's cute. It's going to be DK weight, and I am going to use Drops Belle. And so I have an order of Drops Belle coming. She was like, you can do whatever you want as far as the stripes. She had used 6 total colors in hers, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of using all of the sort of lighter colors of Drops Belle that I liked, and hopefully it will be cute. We'll see. I anticipate it being, very easy. I think it's a compound raglan, so hopefully it'll be nice fitting. I like a raglan on me. I like a raglan a lot better than I like a drop shoulder, but this one was fun because it was a sampler. Anyway, so I'm excited about that. I expect that to go pretty quickly once my yarn arrives. And I guess I can show you guys a picture. I did my summer plans video, and I had an ridiculous number of patterns that I was saying, these are the ones I'm choosing from. And since then I have added another one to that because a designer whose name I do not remember, she's new to me. I've seen some of her stuff before. I've never knitted any of her patterns before, but she came out with this one, the name that I can't remember. So I'll have to put it up here on the screen. That's really, really pretty, like cables and lace. And I just loved it. And I think she was having like a 50% off sale or something. And so I got that one. And so in the order to Rito.com that I put in for my drop spell, I also got some other sport weight yarn from another Norwegian brand that I've never tried before. I'm not going to try to say the name. It has like an HJ to start with. I have no idea what sound that makes. Anyway, that is like a cotton wool, maybe linen blend. And so that will be a like new to me yarn to try, as well as another pattern. So I might cast that one on when that yarn arrives. But yeah, so I think that's it. Yeah, I'm glad to get to talk to you guys. This week has been kind of awful. We had to put our dog, she was about to be 13 years old, and she had been declining for a while, but we had to put her to sleep this week, and so that was really hard. We are now dogless for I guess the first time since my babies that I had rescued when I was in grad school. I lost them in like 2013, and then we got the dog that we just put down. We got her for Christmas of 2013. So it's been 13 years since we have not had dogs in our household. So yeah, this is it's always hard. It's always hard when you lose a pet, especially a pet that's been with you a long time. So this is the only the two dogs that we had were the only dogs that my kids like really remembered, and they've had her pretty much as long as they could remember. So there are just some weeks that are hard, both to live through and then also certainly to be a parent through. So I am thankful for knitting because it has been doing some heavy lifting as reducing my anxiety and taking my mind off of, what's going on, not just in the dumpster fire of the world, but also in my own personal life. So I hope all of your pets are doing well and that you have been knitting on something that is bringing you joy. And I will be back to talk to you before long. Bye.